I'm moving into part 2 of this video right now. So look, editing Zakiya, get down on it, girl. It's logic like that that makes me so hesitant to date men and women who come from mixed race interracial families. It is extremely difficult for me to truly be comfortable in environments like that, because depending on what part of the world you live in, that family that has been created could have been created out of that self-hate and self-loathing. And what I don't want to do as a Black woman who loves herself fiercely is walk into an environment like that and be blindsided. I just had a relationship end between someone who I actually really do, care about, because essentially I wanted to have a further discussion outside of whatever we had going on, outside of friendship, anything like that. I wanted to have a further discussion with him about the sort of mentality that he is applying to me as a Black woman, and as a Black woman who he is or was at that time engaged with. Not engaged, but engaged. And excuse me, I had these questions just based off of the behavior I felt like he was exhibiting. He is a traditional African-American guy, grew up in the United States, has family from the East Coast, but I believe essentially he grew up in California. He has a mixed race child with a woman who she's not white, but she's not Black. Clearly, I said mixed race, right? He has a mixed race child, and he also, his previous real relationship was with a woman who was not Black. And so I started to ask questions because I wanted to understand what that kind of transition looks like for him as a Black man. And Aaliyah, I'm gonna send this to you too, girl, because it's part 2. I know your daddy is currently married to his lovely chocolatey wife, and I would love to know what that kind of a transition looked like for him in terms of being with your mother, which there's nothing wrong with that. Your mother seems very lively. Being with your mother to being with his current wife, your stepmother, and how he sort of navigated that. For me, the issue was maybe the notion of presentation. Also, me trying to get to the nitty-gritty and be honest and have that hard conversation of which I'm sure nobody wants to think to themselves, like, especially as a Black person, that kind of logic is so deep into your psyche that I'm sure when I touched on it, that's what caused him to react so negatively and run from you. But I want to talk about it anyway, because I think it's necessary. And I need to understand how you see me and perceive me as a Black woman when you don't traditionally date women who look like me, or in a sense look like you. I also want Black men and women, but specifically Black men, because from what I understand after speaking to many, many Black men, that the way Black men perceive relationships and things like that is completely different. Completely different. I want to understand where he was mentally when he made the decision to, from what I see, exclusively date outside of his race. I just want to understand that mindset, that frame of mind, that decision. There were instances where he would be speaking about his child, and to touch on the hair issue, he referred to his child's hair as pretty, which when you make that direct kind of association between pretty and curly hair or pretty and mixed race, that is very harmful to you. Like, as a Black man, for you to say that your child's hair is pretty, if that is the standard that you set as what pretty is, my question is, what is ugly to you? Because if you were speaking to me from a level playing field, you would have just said that your child's hair is curly, and you wouldn't use that kind of language, that kind of verbiage, because that is self-destructive and destructive in general. Also asking the question, which I'm sure many Black men don't want to think about when they pursue women who are not Black, but there's also the idea of being hypersexualized. I wanted to talk about that as well, and the idea of, I want you to be honest with me. When you sought out these women and you picked them and you said, this is what I want, this is who I want, when I have kids, I want them to look a certain way, and so I'm going to get a woman who looks that way, so on and so forth. How much of this interracial dating is you genuinely being in love with a person, and how much of it is a self-loathing, a self-hatred, a sort of maybe even a dismissal? I just am trying to, or I was trying to find the sort of balance right there. Unfortunately, that relationship ended, but I don't regret it. I don't regret asking those kinds of questions and trying to seek knowledge. I wasn't trying to hurt him or offend him or anything like that. In fact, I'm trying to understand, because I don't typically date outside of my race, because I have had experiences where men of another race come up to me and so boldly look me in the face and say that they want to have pretty babies, and so they want to have sex with me and procreate. And I think that is vile and disgusting, quite frankly. I think that is, let me say it again, I think that is vile and disgusting. And I don't support that. I don't support that. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe that it is appropriate for people to get together and have children based on the notion that when they pop out, they will be aesthetically pleasing. I think that is very inappropriate. And I think that people like that should not procreate, because you don't know what you're doing. When you create a human being, you're creating a functioning, you are supposed to be creating a functioning member of society. Am I wrong? And so when you take that notion of, I want to have pretty babies, you then later on down the line have instances like this occur. This exact situation that I'm talking about right now, where you have someone who is mixed race, who has a parent that is Black and self-loathing, and they say to themselves, well, yeah, I am better because I'm not you. That's inappropriate. And it doesn't even make sense, because you are your parents. You are a reflection of your parents. If your mama, daddy says to themselves, I'm ugly, baby, you ugly. And that's just that's just a fact about it. That is just the fact about it. You look like your parents. Even if your skin tone is not the same, I'm sure this young lady shares features with her mother. They might not be hair, but I'm sure you share features with your mother. And who knows, maybe your mother only has issues with her hair. Even still. Woo, hold on. Got a new eye itching. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Ugh, this world is absolutely insane. I am reaching a point in my life where, as a Black woman, I know I'm gonna catch some heat for this one right here. As a Black woman who presents herself very, naturally in the world. Oftentimes now in my life, things have made a big transition in terms of maybe race relations, and self-perception. And it has gotten to the point where the most racist interactions that I have with people are oftentimes with Black people. And that is very distressing to me. I have Black men who approach me and, say that I need to be white. I need to look light. And if that's not pretty, why don't you put on a wig? And all of this stuff. It's disturbing. It is absolutely disturbing to think that and have to factor in the notion of, my own people hating me and being against me because I am not conforming to the white American standard of beauty. It's very, very disappointing. It's getting to the point where white people treat me better than Black people. And that's scary. that is something else, especially considering the world and the environment that we live in. That's a lot. And that type of stuff really hits differently, because now, and I don't even want to blame this on slavery and all that kind of stuff, because I feel like you can always relearn, reparent, educate yourself. Like I said before, we all have access to the same amount of knowledge. It's terrifying because white American society has so deeply and intricately warped Black people and warped the Black perspective, warped, Black perception, how we see ourselves in this world and in this country specifically. And then unfortunately, a lot of Black people don't get to travel because we can't afford it. Can't afford it. So we're not even able to go to other countries and see that the way we're treated in America is not the way we're treated, in Europe, contrary to popular belief in some places. Of course, you're gonna have racism everywhere and stuff like that. But the normalization of it is not present in other countries, other places, that we might think would follow those notions. To have Black people, after so many years of conditioning, run on autopilot and carry a sort of racist mentality without white people even really sticking that to you and treating you in that way is insane. There are plenty of Black men and women, depending on where they are in the world, what year they were born in, all of that, who would look at me and say, I don't look right and I don't look nice because my hair is natural and not straight, and therefore unkept and messy, and in a PPY, which is that's a word I don't use. It's not I don't use that kind of language in reference to myself or in reference to anyone else who is Black and has kinky coily hair. Coming back to the what I was saying about dating men who have exclusively dated women who are not Black, there's also, for me, this idea of, when you decide to come back, maybe one could even say circle back and begin to try to date and interact with and form relationships with Black women. It's hard to gauge, because how much of that is an act, how much of that is, coming from a place of longing, how genuine is that? How real is that? Is that something that, at this point in your life, you want to explore that? And once you're done exploring, you will leave and, go back to your comfort zone. It's not a preference, it's a comfort zone. Watch your mouth. Thank you. Thank you. It's a what? A comfort zone, not a preference. Don't do that. Hold on. Woo. Come on. We on time. Shout out to Alicia. Give me the time signal right here. It's the time signal right here. When you, as a Black person, say to yourself, I don't want to date someone who is Black, and I would prefer, let me not even say prefer. I want to date someone who is not Black. That is a comfort zone and a choice, okay? Not a preference. A preference is, do you want mustard or ketchup on your hot dog? Okay? A preference is, do you like having, in your house, how do you like to decorate? Are you more bohemian? Are you more modern? Do you like using color? Those things are preferences. You created a comfort zone for yourself in that arena. Not a preference, it's a comfort zone. Okay? And I say that it is a comfort zone because when Black men specifically date outside of their race, oftentimes they are praised, they are exalted, they are congratulated, they now all of a sudden, they the hottest nigga out. Okay. Regardless of how conducive that relationship is, how beneficial that relationship is to you, who you are, what you do, okay? Why is she here? Okay? What is she looking for? That was the question. Another one of the questions that I was trying to ask my past I don't even know what to call him, because even that was like a whole weird thing, whatever that is. But for the sake of the argument, I'm gonna call him a partner. For me, that was important. The notion of when you stepped outside of your race to date exclusively outside of your race, and you interacted with those women, what kind of women were you interacting with? Are you interacting with women who will say shitty things about Black women? Are you interacting? Y'all can hear me? Production. Give this video a thumbs up if this audio is hitting, because I got this nice little $35 lav, and I am feeling, okay? When you date those women, who are those women? Are they women who support the Black community? Are they women who are allies? Are they women who, respect you and love you as a person who just so happens to be Black? Or are they there because they maybe want to assimilate into Black society because they don't feel comfortable with themselves? And, Black people, y'all see it. I'm on here, no makeup and a robe, baby. I don't got no clothes on. Thank you. And some earrings. Okay? Were they with you for the hypersexualization aspect of it, where, I want to sample or try a Black person? Ugh. Disturbing. When, that instance with the past partner specifically, the question came to my mind, when let's say 5 years from now, we were wherever, doing fine, we're cool, maybe we're an item, whatever, who knows? Just thinking about the possibility of the future, how comfortable would your child's mother, who is not Black, be with the idea of you being with a Black woman, being with a Black person? It's a lot of layers. And for me, you can even take it into the family and say, I can even say to myself, like, will your parents, and oftentimes your mother, because a lot of these things come from the mother, if we do have a child together, will your mother love and appreciate and respect that child equally in comparison to the child that you have that is mixed race? Like there are things that I need to know. Hold on, y'all. Let me sing a song. Things that I need to know. Thank you. I'm dropping the mic and everything. Because I just can't. I can't. Regardless of what it is that we want to think, it's going to be a different kind of experience. Are you, as a man who exclusively dates outside of his race, really ready mentally? Are you really mentally prepared to do that? Are you really mentally prepared to live in the reality of being a Black man who's with a Black woman? Are you really ready to listen to me and hear my perspective? Because men, y'all are so caught up in the hoopla. Let me bring the mic up for this one right here. Men, y'all are so caught up in the hoopla and the rah-rah that oftentimes you don't even know when you're being hypersexualized. But guess who does know? I know. You know why I know? You want to know how I know, honey? I'll tell you. When you take that step away and you leave this non-Black woman here to talk to me, you don't know how many times these women look me in the face and say, oh yeah, I got with my Black husband, boyfriend, whoever, so that I could have pretty babies. She didn't say to me, she loves you. She didn't say to me, she cares about you. She didn't say to me, you are a good person with integrity, moral, and character. She said she wanted to have pretty babies, and you were the key to that. Now that to me is just degrading. And the simple fact that these non-Black women feel comfortable enough to say that to me as a Black woman, and I guess because you're okay with that, they think that I'm okay with that, that's inappropriate. But, you know, when you're talking about people's families, people get real personal. And so there's this notion of, well, you can't say anything, you can't comment on my family and this, that, and the third. Sure, I can. I can't say shit. Let's follow that. I can't say shit. I shouldn't say shit. You know, I need to keep my mouth shut and blah, 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 whatever. That doesn't mean that the point that I am trying to get at is no longer valid just because you don't feel comfortable talking about that. That's what I mean. At some point, as a grown man, I am expecting you to be honest with me and look me in the face the same way these women that you date look me in the face. And I want you to be honest with me and tell me that when you picked that woman to lay down with and procreate with, you said to yourself, I want to have a mixed race child that does not look like me. In a literal sense, not in a, they're not, you know, because they're mixed race, their skin isn't black and brown. And so they're, no. More specifically, they don't look like me. Because you're talking about yourself, baby. You talking about yourself. They don't look like me. That's, I done took the laugh off and got it up here. That's what I'm thinking about. I want you to be as bold as that woman and be honest with me and tell me the truth. When you picked this woman to procreate with, what were your intentions? And I'm saying that in this instance because my partner admitted to wanting to have a child. It was a desire of his. Okay. So I'm following your train of logic, baby. That's all I'm doing. You said to me, I wanted to have this child. I wanted to have a child. Okay, you wanted to have a child. So you said so then if the chicken came before the egg, right? And you wanted to have a child, that means that the next step you took was the step that says, I want this child to look a certain way. Or, or maybe he was just open, and whoever popped up first, got the lucky draw. But there's something about that I don't believe that. Did I want to know if he said to himself, okay, I want to have this child, but I want my child to look a certain way, and so I'm going to pick partners that do not look like me, that are not black, to have a child that is mixed race, because I am hoping that child will be aesthetically pleasing, which to me is always going to be a comparison to the self. When I think about my future and I think about having children, I would love it if my children look like me. I would love it if my children were brown and black and beautiful, because I believe that I am brown and black and beautiful. I would never say to myself, I want to have a child who doesn't look like me. That's just a personal thing, because quite frankly, I would not know how to navigate that. Let's be honest, when you as a black person have a child who is of mixed race, they in American society are in a position where they can step above you. They can say, listen, pause this video, okay? Pause this video and type in Imitation of Life movie. Watch it and come back. Watch that film and come back and talk to me. Okay? Please pause this video, click over in the next tab. Okay? And watch the film, if you can, Imitation of Life. And maybe you'll be able to understand what it is that I'm saying. And on that note, baby, I'm gonna close it out, because I'm sitting here talking about Imitation of Life. Imitation of Life is, and just for a little bit of premise, Imitation of Life is a very popular film. I want to say it was, the film is shot in color, so definitely 40s, 50s, 60s. I want to say maybe 40s or 50s was when the movie was made and released. And essentially it is the story of a young mixed race girl who appears in the world as a white woman, but her mother is a very dark-skinned, traditional, at that point in time, I'm going to use this word that I don't like, mammy. I hate that. But she is that type of character in the film, and she is her mother. I'm not sure if she was brought about in a husband cheating on his wife with a servant kind of situation. I can't really remember. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time. But her sort of discovering later on in life, after having this sort of picturesque idea of her being this white girl, that she is in fact mixed race, and even though she presents to the world as white, the simple fact that her mother is black makes her black. And it follows that whole change in perception. There's the very famous scene towards the end of the film where the woman is abused by her white Caucasian boyfriend and called the N-word. It's the idea of blackness being a sort of fall from grace, which can go back to Bible times, not even Bible times, but biblical notions. Talking about what is that? I can't even tell you the verse in it, but I know the story of the man who was cursed with darker black skin, and the simple fact that that kind of language is used is already a no for me. Thank you. But following that and the idea of blackness and being black and looking black and emulating black features, especially as a mixed race person, brings you down and makes you less desirable, and sort of stains you in a way when it comes to white society and how white people see you and perceive you. Taking this logic from Imitation of Life, or maybe a piece of the logic from Imitation of Life, and applying it back to Aaliyah talking about your lovely friend, this idea of being a mixed race person who does not entirely reflect blackness is good and should be placed on a pedestal, and gives you a chance as a person in your mind to rise above what, baby? I don't know. But it gives you a chance to rise above and be better. Whew. You're better based off of your appearance and not your merit, your moral character, your moral compass, integrity. No, none of that shit matters. What's important is the fact that your hair is not kinky or curly. Don't even get me started on, mixed race women and men specific. Those people going out in the world and claiming other races randomly. It to me is random. Saying, "Oh, I look Hispanic." Claiming other races because anything is better than black, huh? Come on, y'all. Listen. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, baby. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to get out. Now, please keep in mind, okay, that I should probably put this in the beginning of both videos. Editing Zakiya. Okay, thank you, girl. I am, like I said before, a black person. I consider myself a black person, more specifically West Indian American. My mother is Jamaican. My father is from North Carolina. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. I went to private schools my whole life. I went to public school maybe 3 years out of my life. And that experience afforded me the opportunity to meet all kinds of people from all over the world. And, I had a very rare experience that a lot of black kids in the DMV area in general don't have, in the sense that I grew up with all kinds of people, white, sitting next to white people in class and all this other stuff. If you don't know, the DMV can be quite segregated. And so from college, I moved on and I went, not from college, from high school, I moved on and went to college. And I started out as a psychology major. It didn't work for me. Went on to be an English major. And then from that point, took that as a minor and became a screenwriting major. We can talk about the power of language, literature, and media in any culture, and the influence of films and music and art in general. That was something that I always wanted to do. And I told myself that if I ever did, about to get emotional, for real. If I ever did, and I was ever granted the opportunity to create films, television shows, I would prefer to speak on things that need to be spoken about, because we cannot truly advance as a human race in terms of racism and things like that if we don't acknowledge every aspect of that. If we only say, "Oh, I only want to look at white people, white cops killing us in the street," or I only want to look at it from a hair perspective. We have to see the reality of racism and just how infectious it is, and what parts of our life it really touches on. Because when racism moves from being external to internal, and it builds and festers and becomes a sort of energy, even if you aren't spitting out hate, your mindset, the energy is going to transfer to some place, and most oftentimes it will transfer to your mindset and change the way you see yourself and perceive yourself as well as other Black people. Hopefully I am making sense. Hopefully y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. If not, baby, that's okay. Sound off in the comments. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. And I would also like to say thank you to Aaliyah. Hope you did not personally attack me as far as I know. Who knows, girl? Maybe you saw my comment and you started running your mouth. If so, but if not, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hopefully this 2-part video is able to help you see what's going on. And I didn't mention this before, but I wanted you specifically to talk to your friend about that, because you are a mixed race person the same way she is, but you also are very close with your Black African American family members. Just me wanting you to take a moment to think and say to yourself, if my friend said that to my sister and my sister was, maybe 10, 11 years old, or my brother and they were maybe 10, 11 years old, how would that affect them? How would words and language like that hurt my family? Is the logic that I wanted you to apply to this instance. That was the purpose for that. Is that it? Is that everything? I think that's everything, baby. I'm going to head on out for right now. Come on back when I got some real nigga shit to say, as usual. And yes, I hope that this video sparks a dialogue between you and your friends and family. Let's really start to talk and be frank and open and honest about all of these things, because if we are able to address these issues now in the present moment, then they do not fester into generational curses that follow our family, which is very important to me. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like the content. I have all of my information in the description box. You can check me out if you want. I'm not the most active on social media because I'm a very busy woman. I have to work every day. That's just the life that I live right now. I have everything I need, so I can't really complain. Let me know how you feel down in the comments. Do not get rude. Do not get snippy, because, baby, you do not want me to bite you, okay? You don't want me to bite you. Don't make me bite you. Make sure that you are being kind and respectful to everyone. If not, I will check you. Don't make me check you out here on this internet, girl. Boy, person, non binary. Don't make me check you, okay? My camera cut off, but I wanted to really say bye-bye. So bye-bye. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around. Cool. All right. Bye.